We are saying one of the set of conditions that need to be obeyed is we must hold other factors constant. And what are these other factors? These factors, we are going to look at them later. And these are factors that affect demand. And for this law to operate, we hold those factors constant. In other words, we assume that they are not changing, and we are only going to vary, or we are allowing the price to change. And when the price changes, that is, when it comes down, consumers will have a tendency of buying more of that commodity. When the prices are high, consumers will tend to shy off or fail to buy more of the commodity and rather buy less. We have another concept which we call a demand schedule. A demand schedule is a table showing the quantities bought at different prices over a given period of time. Now, I want us to understand a demand schedule more clearly. We are saying it is a table which is giving us two variables. One is quantities bought, and two, different prices. So a demand schedule will give us different prices of a given commodity and the quantities which consumers bought at those specific different prices. We are going to look at an example shortly after. The next concept is a demand curve. A demand curve is a graphical representation of the quantity of a commodity demanded at a given price over a specified period of time. We are saying it is representation of the quantity of a commodity demanded at different prices within a specific period of time. In other words, we are saying it is a graphical representation of the demand schedule. I want us to look at an example of a demand schedule for the consumption of bread in a given school per week. Our demand schedule is given here. We have said a demand schedule is a table, and it gives us two variables, that is price and quantity demanded. Now, this is a demand schedule for the consumption of bread in a particular school per week. The first column gives us the price in shillings. The second column gives us the quantity demanded per week for the consumption of loaves of bread. When the price was 5 shillings, the quantity demanded was 90 loaves of bread. When the price increased to 15 shillings, the quantity demanded decreased to 50 loaves of bread. When the price increased to 20 shillings, the quantity demanded further decreased to 30 loaves of bread. with a further increase of price to 25 shillings, it resulted to a decrease in the quantity demanded to 10 loaves of bread. When the price hit 30 shillings per bread, the quantity demanded for loaves of bread reduced to 5 loaves per week. Now, we have said that a demand schedule will give us the combination of price and the quantity demanded at different prices within a given period of time. Now, I want us to move together so that we generate a graphical representation of this demand schedule, and we get our demand curve. So we move together. From our demand schedule, we have price and quantity demanded. We have said a demand curve is a graphical representation. I believe you have a knowledge of drawing graphs from mathematics. That means we need to get a scale that will help us to fit these figures into our graph. So we begin by labeling our curve, or rather our graph. And on the y-axis, we are going to have price. And the price is in shillings. On the x-axis, we are going to have the quantity demanded. We have the origin, which is 0. We need to have a scale that will help us to plot these figures. And we are going to choose a scale of 1 centimeter represents 5 units. In this case, because it is price, which is in shillings, 1 centimeter will represent 5 shillings. So we label our y-axis. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. On the x-axis, for quantity demanded, from our knowledge of drawing graphs in mathematics, we have the least value being 5 and the highest 90. So we need to choose a scale that is going to accommodate all these figures, a difference of 85. And we are going to choose a scale of 1 centimeter represents 10 units. So we have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Now we have our graph with both axes labeled and with a scale shown. So we are going to plot our graph. Now, when the price was 5 shillings, the quantity demanded was 90 units. So we plot that point. When the price was 15 shillings, the quantity demanded was 50 loaves of bread. So when the price is 15, we have only 50 loaves of bread being bought. When the price is 20 shillings, only 30 loaves of bread were bought. So this is where 20 shillings intersects with a quantity of 30. When the price was 25 shillings, only 10 loaves were bought. With the increase to 25 of price, quantity came down to 10. So this is 25 shillings, only 10 loaves were bought. When the price increased to 30 shillings, the number of loaves bought that week was 5 units. That is the midpoint of this small square. Now we have the points for our graph. We need to join them to generate a graph. And we are going to use freehand to join these points. So we go. Now, this is our demand curve generated from the demand schedule, or rather, it is a graphical representation of our demand schedule. So we give it its name. This is a demand curve. There are several things that we are observing from our demand curve. These things is what I want us to take note of carefully, because they are interpretation of the law of demand. We said when the price is on its highest, the quantity demanded is on its lowest. When the price is lowest, then the quantity demanded is on the highest. So we can say our curve obeys the law of demand. Now that marks the end of our lesson. And until next time,
National Educator.
I like Edu Channel because it's an educative channel. It helps people to be respectable to their parents, and they can learn more from Edu Channel. They can see drama.